21st Century Faith. 21st Century Faith is a program brought to you by Aspect Ministries and features topics and guests that explore contemporary ways of reaching younger people and unchurched adults with the unchanging good news of the gospel. Now here's our speaker, the founder and director of Aspect Ministries, pastor, teacher, and author, Mike Bogart.
Hey, welcome to 21st Century Faith. This is Mike Bogart, host of the show. The show is brought to you by Aspect Ministries, a ministry that emphasizes successful, effective 21st century faith, hence the name of the show. And also, the show is brought to you by Mind Cuisine, which is the educational training division of Aspect Ministries. It's great to have you with us tonight. I hope you're ready for a great show. You might want to grab something to munch on while you watch the show and sit back and enjoy. This is going to be a very exciting and I think a very vital show because we're going to be talking about ways of communicating the unchanging good news of Christianity, of what Christians call and what the Bible calls the gospel message. The message about Jesus Christ, about God caring about us, that God has cared enough about us to incarnate himself, in other words, to become human and to enter our world so that he could bring us back to God. That's incredibly good news. How to communicate that in the 21st century. That's going to be the subject for tonight. I'm going to have a guest on the show. I'm not going to really give it away. It's kind of a surprising mystery guest, so I'm going to hold you in suspense. But our guest has been exploring some ways of communicating that message in a creative way. This guest has not been the first one to use these methods, but been exploring some ways of communicating the faith in some different ways, and we're going to have that guest on the show just a little bit later on. But before we do that, I want to give a little bit of background. We're going to be talking about Christian publishing tonight, and Christian publishing has been going through a very radical revolution in the past, probably 15 to 20 years. Christian media, Christian publishing, that is printed books and magazines, have been impacted by the changing technology. For example, have you noticed that bookstores are closing across the country? Probably a good example of that was back in 2011 when Borders closed its doors. And not only bookstores in general, but Christian bookstores tend to be closing fairly rapidly because the profit margins are so razor thin. For example, in the 1970s, people estimated there were about 5,000 Christian bookstores across the country. Today, about 2,500. So about half that number are still open. It's a very difficult business to be in. What's causing this revolution in publishing? Well, first of all, new publishing venues like self-publishing. Self-publishing has taken off in the last 10, 15 years. Now almost anyone can write a book, but also e-books. So the need for paper novels, paper printed material is much less. The Kindle revolution and the e-reader revolution has really changed the way people read these days. Also, there's a lot of free information on the internet through websites. Also, many books are offered for free or very minimal charge, and so that's cut into the publishing industry's profits. And then a shift towards purchasing from online sources. You know, your eBays have really damaged, or I guess you'd say, heavily competed with the brick and mortar bookstores, as well as buying books, printed books from things like Walmart and the big chains. So all of that has really impacted Christian publishing. So this Christian publishing revolution has really got a double-edged effect. First of all, anybody can now publish an ebook. And of course, I mentioned that before. That's a good thing. People who could never have published before now, through self-publishing, are able to do that. What that means, though, is that the quality of materials has a much wider range. You've got some excellent self-published materials on the market and circulating, and you also have some very poor quality materials because anybody can publish a book. Authors now take most or all of the risk instead of the publishers. The author funds the book, the author markets the book, bookstores don't stock the book, and the market is consequently flooded with a lot of books people are trying to market. So spreading the Christian message through written materials, through books, and even through digital media like videos is really a challenging task in the 21st century. And that's going to be our subject for tonight, how to get the Christian message out through print and other media in this challenging publishing market. So that has a real impact on the way the message is spread in our times. I'm going to take a very quick break, go to commercial, give you an example of the 45-minute Bible, which is something we've produced, and then we'll continue to talk about this very vital subject. So we'll see you in just 30 seconds or so.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Hey, wanted to follow up on that commercial for the 45-minute Bible. We're going to be talking a lot more about those kinds of things tonight on the show. But that's an example of Mind Cuisine, which is the educational training resource division of Aspect Ministries. It's just an example of some of the resources that we have available for people today in this digital and visual age of the early 21st century. Mind Cuisine is as I said, is the educational resource division of Aspect Ministries. It was created with some very simple things in mind. We wanted to get out facts about religious issues, about controversial social issues in our times. One of the things I noticed years ago was that so much information was being pushed around and circulated, and much of it wasn't totally fact-based. A lot of it was heavily biased in nature. And one of the things that I learned to do as a community college teacher and as well as university teacher as the years went by, I've taught in colleges and universities now for 23 years as a part-time addition to my ministry employment. But one of the things I learned was that you don't have to skew information to get people's attention. That if you present material in terms of its facts and present it authentically and compellingly, people will listen and they will make up their minds for themselves. And I have learned a very difficult lesson, and that is Christianity compares rather well with many of the other ideologies and religions out there if it's presented alongside the others in terms of its facts. So Mind Cuisine was formed with the idea that we would just present fact-based information about Christianity, but also about the other religions. We would make it user-friendly so that you didn't have to have some kind of advanced degree to understand what was being talked about. And we would leave it with a decide-for-yourself approach. A person could look at it and come to their own conclusions. And we found that to be very successful with a wide range of people in churches as well as in academic classrooms and other kinds of venues. Mind Cuisine's goals are really to do three things. First of all, we focus on facts. It is fact-based, as I mentioned before. We don't give urban legends. We don't give slanted opinion if we can help it. We try to document all of our facts with real citations and academically, sound sources. And that's really important in this world that we live in because it's an information age, and people get very, very suspicious of facts if they don't come across as being authentic and having some basis in some kind of real valid materials. Secondly, we work hard to be accessible. We work hard to speak to the common person, not to the intellectuals. And my wife helped me with that over the years in my preaching. She always encouraged me to do as the old preacher said, bring the hay down where the horses can reach it. And that's been a real learning experience for me, but it's been a valuable one in that we learn to speak on the common level. Teaching college, especially teaching beginning students, is very helpful in that regard. And so we've developed a talent and an experience of being able to communicate on a very basic level with people, and yet to do so very compellingly. And then thirdly, we major in civility. There's far too much information out there that's angry, that promotes polarization. Far too much of our discussion about social issues is in the form of accusations with people that we disagree with. And we believe that that's got to stop. We believe, obviously, people are going to come to their own conclusions, and there are going to be serious disagreements. But we don't have to add to the rancor and the anger any more than is already generated, perhaps just by the differences of opinion. We need to learn to respect people and to speak rationally and compassionately, even when we are passionate about what we believe. So over the past years, we've been honing those skills in our products. So with the time remaining, I believe we have just about a minute or so until our break. With the time remaining, I'd like to just review some of the materials we have to offer. The 45-minute Bible you got just a glimpse of a few minutes ago. What I tried to do with that was to offer a very brief, obviously 45-minute overview of what's in the Bible. Obviously, there's not a lot of detail in that video. But the value of it is to give you what I call a bird's eye view of the Holy Scriptures. That from Genesis to Revelation, at least from a Christian point of view, from Genesis to Revelation, the flow of the Bible from beginning to end becomes clear. I've found that a lot of people have a lot of misconceptions about the Bible, and that even Christians who go to church regularly have only a spotty understanding of how it all fits together. So that's one resource. We'll talk about some of the others when we come back from break, and we'll give you some examples of some of the resources that you could have. So we'll see you in just a couple of minutes. And in the meantime, you might want to grab a snack or something to munch on, because the rest of the show is going to be very interesting, and you won't want to miss any of it. We'll see you then.
Optimal Hospice Foundation. Caring support when it matters most. Look us up at optimalhospicefoundation.com.
Maintain your independence with the caring support of an entire community at Cedar Creek Senior Living. For more information, call 559-474-4433.
We are conveniently located across from Bullard High School on North Palm Avenue in Fig Garden. Morales Wellness Dental offers quality-oriented family dental care and service in a personalized and comfortable manner. As you enter our office, you'll always be greeted by our warm, caring dental team and will be invited to relax in our finely appointed lobby. We have 7 patient treatment suites that feature monitors for your in-op entertainment and diagnostic review. Our comfortable hygienist suites are the ideal setting for regular cleanings and checkups. As safety is our utmost priority, all instruments are put through our modern sterilization center. Furthermore, our sedation suite offers you both comfort and peace of mind during advanced dental procedures. And for your privacy, we have 2 separate patient consultation offices. Take the worry out of your next dental visit by calling us today. Experience our commitment to excellence, respect, and honesty at Morales Wellness Dental.
Whether your wedding is rustic, vintage, formal, traditional, casual, elegant, or just a little outside the box, Black Tie and Bridal Lace has everything you need to dress your entire wedding party. Are you currently shopping for solar? Give Solar Negotiators a call. You see, what they do is they fill downtime at a reduced rate to make sure that you always get the best deal. Don't find out later that you could have bought your solar for thousands of dollars less. Call Solar Negotiators.
If you're looking to go solar with confidence and have someone represent you in this transaction, give Solar Negotiators a call at 844-OWN-SOLAR or visit solarnegotiators.com.
Looking for a travel agent? Look no further.
Bianca Echeveste can make your travel dream a reality, even on a budget. Visit ilovemytravelbiz.com or call Bianca at 559-284-2217.
Central Valley. CentralValleyTalk.com.
Hey, welcome back to 21st Century Faith. We're going to be talking about communicating the Christian message in the 21st century. And you've been perhaps watching long enough to see a couple of commercials about a product that we have to offer called the 45-Minute Bible. And those products offered by Aspect Ministries are accessible on our educational resource site called Mind Cuisine, MindCuisine, mindcuisine.com. If you want to order those materials, they're available there. Just go to mindcuisine.com, click on the product tab, and you can order anything you want there. One of the products we have to offer is the 45-Minute Bible, which we've been talking about. I think it's a really excellent tool. These tools can be used as personal resources, just for personal information. There's something you can watch yourself, or they can be used with groups because it comes with discussion questions. And the value of a product like that is that it allows you to see the big picture of what the Bible is, from Genesis to Revelation. We talk about why certain books are in the Bible, why those books. It's called the canonization issue. We talk a little bit about the relevance of the Bible for the 21st century, and we find that really it's highly relevant, perhaps more relevant to the 21st century in some ways than it's ever been in any previous time. And so it's a very valuable tool. It wraps it all up in 45 minutes. Another set of tools that we have are 4 other videos on world religion issues that I've put together as a world religion teacher. Everything from Islam, which is something that I believe everybody should have a basic understanding of because it's such a part of the world that we live in. It's part of the news every single day. And I have a 35-minute video presentation on Islam, what it believes, what it teaches, what it practices, and also where it came from, and some issues about how Muslims and non-Muslim people can relate successfully. Also, I put together some videos on religions that people ask me about quite a bit as a world religions teacher. So I have a video called I Know Mormonism. I have a video called I Know the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I have a video called I Know the New Age Movement. Now, it's not to pick on those particular groups, it's just the ones that people ask me about most frequently. And so we made videos, again, about 35 to 40 minutes on each one, explaining the history behind them, the teachings and the practices, and some of the unique social aspects of those particular religious groups or movements. So just to give you sort of a taste of what these videos could be like, we're going to show you some clips right now, and then we'll be back to discuss them. Well, let's be honest. To the average person, the Bible can sometimes be an incredibly confusing book. Many people either can't make sense of it, or they may have a distorted understanding of the Bible based on incomplete information or negative experiences. For instance, in its first section, which Christians refer to as the Old Testament, there are stories of people who lived several thousand years ago in a culture that is vastly different in some ways from what people experience today. Some of these stories may be puzzling to contemporary people because they're unfamiliar with the values and customs of the time. four gospel accounts are followed by instructions to Jesus' followers about how to live in a world that often doesn't take God all that seriously. So, starting in Acts and moving through the New Testament letters, Paul, Peter, John, and others give instructions about how to live as followers of Jesus. Yet while the culture of the first century resembles life in our times in certain ways, it also has some distinct differences. For instance, sometimes the New Testament speaks about issues that don't seem to correlate directly with issues we commonly face. For example, the need for women to keep their heads covered out of modesty, the issue of circumcising or not circumcising male children, and a number of others. In the first letter to the Corinthians, we may stop and ponder the instructions about personal conscience concerning the issue of eating meat sacrificed to pagan idols. Or we may find ourselves wondering how the extended arguments in the book of Hebrews about Jesus' superiority to anything in Judaism fits our world and the struggles we face. So it's no surprise that some modern readers of the Bible just throw up their hands and walk away. The truth be told, a surprising number of committed believers are tempted to do something similar once in a while. So let's start with some very basic information about the book itself. The Bible is an overwhelmingly Jewish document. Though there may be portions that were not written by Jewish people, a high percentage of the books were. The total number of authors who contributed directly to its content have been estimated at around 40. Well, how about the time frame for when the books were written? The earliest of the Old Testament books could have been written down as far back as maybe 1400 BC, if you take the traditional viewpoint on its dates, or several centuries later if you take a more critical position. The last of the New Testament books were complete sometime just before the end of the first century AD. So from beginning to end, perhaps a total of as much as 1,500 years from beginning to end. Now, when scholars talk about the canon of Scripture, they really mean the list of accepted books that are in the Bible. The problem is that there are several official canons of Scripture, depending upon which group you ask. For example, Protestants hold to a 66-book canon, with 39 in the Old Testament and 27 books in the New Testament. The Old Testament accepted by Protestants is identical in overall content to the Jewish canon of Scripture, which the Jews call the Hebrew Scriptures, or, among themselves, the Tanakh. On the other hand, Roman Catholics have a 73-book canon. They accept as inspired Scripture all of the books that Protestants do, but add 7 more called the Apocrypha. Eastern Orthodox Christians accept the Roman Catholic canon plus a few more bits and pieces to make an expanded Apocrypha. Now, how did these books become accepted as Scripture? First, despite its ancient cultures and puzzling passages, the Bible is an understandable and very practical book, meant not only as a guide for navigating life, but specifically to lead people into relationship with God. For centuries, it has served as an inspiration and source of instruction for Jewish and Christian people alike, not to mention many others. Secondly, the Bible continues to be a source of controversy. Check out any local bookstore or go online. What you will find are dozens of books about the Bible. Some are blatantly and virulently anti-Bible, marshaling all sorts of arguments and evidence to show its contradictions, errors, and inconsistencies. On the other side are many more books, modern and not so modern, that resolve apparent contradictions and explain what seem to be inconsistencies and errors. In the end, much of how a person sees the Bible already exists in that person before they ever read a single page. Islam is essentially religious teachings and regulations said to have been given by Allah, that's the Arabic word for God, through the Prophet Muhammad. And people are expected to surrender to and live by these rules and teachings in order to accomplish Allah's will. In fact, the Arabic word Islam is a form of the word peace, salam, and in the form Islam means surrender or submission. So when a person submits to Allah and joins Islam, he or she is referred to as a Muslim, a person surrendered to God's will. As I said earlier, the two main branches of Islam are Sunni and Shia. Sunni Islam accounts for approximately 85% of the Muslims worldwide, and Shia Islam makes up about 15%, mainly in the countries of Iran, Yemen, and parts of Iraq. And the two groups differ over which of the early caliphs were rightly guided by Allah and therefore legitimate successors to Muhammad in leading all of Islam. Islam is essentially a religion of teachings and regulations said to have been given by Allah, that's the Arabic word for God, through the Prophet Muhammad. And people are expected to surrender to and live by these rules and teachings in order to accomplish Allah's will. In fact, the Arabic word Islam is a form of the word peace, salam, and in the form Islam means surrender or submission. So when a person submits to Allah and joins Islam, he or she is referred to as a Muslim, a person surrendered to God's will. Well, I hope you enjoyed that. And once again, you can order these products, Understanding Islam, the 45-Minute Bible, I Know Mormonism, I Know the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I Know the New Age Movement by going to Mind Cuisine, MindCuisine.com, and ordering those products. I think they'll be a great help to you or for your small group or study group. So we're going to take a break right now, and we'll come back in about 3 minutes.
This segment is brought to you by Jonathan Rooker of the Law Office of Nuttall and Coleman. We help good people during tough times. Call 441-0441.
Here at Central Valley Talk, we've chosen Select Business Systems to provide for our copy, print, and scanning needs. We used to think it was cheaper to purchase our own toner and maintain our own office equipment. But now, with the expertise and experience of Select Business Systems, our office workflow is running at peak performance, saving our company time and money. They've truly set us up with our new sharp multifunction copier, streamlining our office with the press of a button. To find out how you can improve your office technology, call Select Business Systems at 446-0123 or visit their website at selectsharp.com.
Come help heal mind, spirit, and body. Treat yourself to the healing experience of Reiki. Classes available.
A reverse mortgage can help your money last longer and help you leave a larger estate for your heirs. To learn how, call Patrick Furlong at 559-213-7767 or visit patrickfurlongreversemortgage.com.
No matter what you drive, sooner or later you're going to need tires. That means you. It's Wheel King, your custom wheel and tire headquarters for over 20 years. Hundreds of custom wheels and tires in stock all the time. Shocks, brake jobs, alignments, and lowering done the right way. The King has got you covered.
Inside the wheel, see the King. No one else can get attention.
Call 225-KING. Blackstone, just off the Shaw. It's Wheel King.
Looking for work? Tired of minimum wage? For as low as $200, become certified as a forklift driver at the Certified Forklift Training Center. Call 559-325-8097 or visit cftc.net.
At Loss Prevention and Safety Consulting, we collaborate with business owners to protect their profits from theft, fraud, and other financial misappropriations. Call us today for a free initial consultation and put your profits back to work for you.
You enter this door with expired tags. Beyond is another dimension, a dimension of regulations, a dimension of long waits. You have reached the registration zone. What looks like an ordinary shop is actually Mitchell Smog, located in the heart of the Tower District, a few minutes from the DMV. Mitchell Smog offers your vehicle a STAR-certified smog inspection. So remember Mitchell Smog when you need to pass through the registration zone.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Welcome back to 21st Century Faith. As I promised, we have a guest tonight on the show, and the guest is my lovely wife of 36 years, Melinda. She's an author and a motivational speaker. In fact, an international motivational speaker. She's spoken in Africa and the Caribbean, Latin America, where we've done some work in terms of training Christian leaders. So welcome, Melinda, to the show. I won't shake your hand, but we're glad to have you with us tonight. Just let me explain a little bit about why Melinda's here tonight. Melinda has written a book, and that book is called Reunion. Reunion is a way of communicating some aspects of the Christian message using literature. And so this novel is a deliberate attempt to write a compelling story, and yet to do so in a way that communicates Christian values in a very winsome way that resonates with the generation that we have right now coming on the scene. Let me just read a description of the novel. Reunion chronicles a 30-year transformation in the main character, Melanie Forbes, and her network of relationships. Volume 1 features Melanie and her connections with a select group of friends during 3 reunions over 30 years following high school graduation. Volume 2 gives further development in the lives of these classmates, structured around the same 3 reunions, but experienced from the vantage points of the other characters. Through the experiences of Melanie, Scott, Ken, Tara, Cherry, and others, readers find a journey they can relate to. High school reunions often prove to be simply the outer mirror of the key inner reunion, with the profound issues that time and achievement cannot avoid. So, quite a compelling, I guess you'd say, write-up of your book. So, welcome to the show, and I've been really looking forward to getting your thoughts on how you communicate Christian values through a novel. So let's start with some questions. What advantage does literature have for communicating the message of Christianity over conventional outreach methods?
My purpose for doing it in this way is that I believe that it connects with the dramatic draw in a person. So you have emotions being stirred in something like this, and it causes people to maybe think a little more and to relate, and that's what I was hoping to accomplish here.
So you talk about drama and that sort of thing. Do you think that connects better with certain types of personalities, certain kinds of worldviews in different people?
I think so. I think literature is something that a person can sit down and choose when they want to read, and how long they want to sit there and read it, and it puts them at their ease a little more, maybe opens them up a little more to receive what it is that they find once they read.
Okay, And how about, there are certain types of ways of looking at the world. One of those ways is kind of dramatic or artistic or whatever you want to say. I mean, in what ways have you used art or a dramatic story to get your message across?
Well, I have been able to experience drama in a number of mediums, a number of ways. I've done some acting over the years. I'm a singer. I'm a singer still. And then writing this book, first time of doing this, it causes people to, as I said, relax a little more. If you can create a story for them with characters that they are familiar with, that resonate with who they are, maybe characters they can actually, interject themselves.
Identify with.
Yeah, and identify with. If you can do that, then you can take them along on this particular character's journey, and then hopefully look at themselves, look within themselves for some of the direction or inspiration that I'd like to be giving them.
Now, we're talking about communicating the Christian message. This book here would probably not be classified as a Christian book. It probably wouldn't be sold in Christian bookstores. So let's talk about, the different genres of literature. There's a standard style of Christian novels that often are sold in Christian bookstores. What makes for a Christian book, and who reads those?
Well, I don't know that there's a standard style, because there's all kinds of subjects that are in these books, and they're wonderful. But if you were to go specifically, on purpose to a Christian bookstore, it's because you're wanting, whatever subject it is you're wanting to look for or find, you have, I have to say this carefully because I don't want to offend anyone or, seem smart alecky or anything, but you want to be in a safe zone. A Christian book will not have certain content that might be offensive,
Yeah.
or so you know that when you come and choose that type of a book.
Okay, and so would you say your book has offensive content?
I didn't write my book specifically for Christians, so I didn't let that limit me on what I brought out in the various characters in the book.
Okay. So we don't want to give the wrong impression that this book has a lot of really bad stuff in it, but would you say that you tried to depict, say, maybe real life and a person's real life journey from one kind of outlook to more of a Christian outlook?
Right. I created a number of characters that are very familiar to all of us. People that have read the book, they've said, "Did you write that about me?" And no, I didn't. I didn't have anyone specifically in mind. I had more character in mind, and developed individuals with that.
So who were you trying to reach when you wrote Reunion?
I'd like to reach people who may be unwilling to sit and have a message of the gospel given to them in some other format, but who would be willing to be intrigued by a story. You read the back of a book and it hopefully draws you into, gosh, that sounds interesting, something like that. So I wanted to be able to attract someone who may be turned off by other forms of evangelism and would be more curious about something that came out of a book. Now, I don't evangelize in this book. I don't give the 4 spiritual laws. I don't spell out the gospel, but I do walk people along on life choices and journeys that they may take, and then give them maybe what I believe the consequences of some of those choices would lead them to.
Sure, and the main character does find faith in the end, doesn't she? Yeah.
Yes.
So give us a quick outline of the plot here. We've got a few minutes left till the next break, but we've had some people read this book who said, I couldn't put it down. I had to continue reading the book. So it really is kind of a page turner. Give us a quick synopsis.
Okay, starting with my own 20-year high school reunion. I was in college at the time, and so had to write a, oh gosh, it just
Sort of
went
a
out of my head.
sociological paper?
A sociological paper. That means that I was to pick some sort of venue where sociological situations were taking place. So reunion, yeah, that'd be great. Well, I went into that reunion, and for pretty much the same reason most people go to their reunion, but I found in it sociological situations. Why am I acting like this? Going to this thing, or why did I dress this way, or why did I just say that? Who am I trying to impress, or just the whole fact of a reunion, that it's a time in one's life that causes them to stop and look back at what they've done. Now, if we have a 10-year reunion, 20-year, and 30, you have time lapses in between there. So yes, at the 20-year, you may be looking back at what you did with the last 10 years of your life. And so I just thought that was intriguing. I thought reunions themselves are like, I have said that they're like a catalyst of something that you can put together in a package and say, what have I done with my life? Here I am talking to other people, same age as me. I'm somewhat familiar with them. And what have we all done with our life? Whether it be accomplishment or just where have we come in our life? And so I created characters, and it's fictional, but it was really easy to do and very enjoyable, and hopefully very interesting and thought-provoking.
Okay, we've got less than 2 minutes till the commercials, but I'd like you to tell us about Melanie, your main character at least in the first part of the book.
She begins with, she's quite a snob, and she's already, by her 10-year reunion, made choices in her life to slough off things that she felt, or people that she felt were preventing her from aspiring, from accomplishing goals, social status, whatever. And so she begins the story in that place. And then we go on, and 10 years later, next reunion, and I take a few episodes inside those 10 years too. But she comes back, she's learned a few lessons, or she's at least seen the outcome of some of the choices that she's made in the way that she lived and what she ignored or turned her back on in order to accomplish something else. So she eventually grows through these life experiences, through her connections with these friends at the reunions, and through just finally some very wise people. I have to say one thing. I took a Christian and put them in this story because I'm so sick and tired of Christians being portrayed as idiots, or hypocrites, or weak, or whatever. And I tried to create a Christian as I have seen one. There's a lot of personal experiences that were put into this character. And so I enjoyed being able to do that too. It's kind of my chance to portray what I believe to be a genuine Christian.
Well, more in just a minute. We're going to take a break and come back with Melinda Bogart, our guest tonight.
Optimal Hospice Foundation. Caring support when it matters most. Look us up at optimalhospicefoundation.com.
Maintain your independence with the caring support of an entire community at Cedar Creek Senior Living. For more information, call 559-474-4433.
We are conveniently located across from Bullard High School on North Palm Avenue in Fig Garden. Morales Wellness Dental offers quality-oriented family dental care and service in a personalized and comfortable manner. As you enter our office, you'll always be greeted by our warm, caring dental team and will be invited to relax in our finely appointed lobby. We have 7 patient treatment suites that feature monitors for your in-op entertainment and diagnostic review. Our comfortable hygienist suites are the ideal setting for regular cleanings and checkups. As safety is our utmost priority, all instruments are put through our modern sterilization center. Furthermore, our sedation suite offers you both comfort and peace of mind during advanced dental procedures. And for your privacy, we have 2 separate patient consultation offices. Take the worry out of your next dental visit by calling us today. Experience our commitment to excellence, respect, and honesty at Morales Wellness Dental.
Whether your wedding is rustic, vintage, formal, traditional, casual, elegant, or just a little outside the box, black tie and bridal lace has everything you need to dress your entire wedding party. Are you currently shopping for solar? Give Solar Negotiators a call. You see, what they do is they fill downtime at a reduced rate to make sure that you always get the best deal. Don't find out later that you could have bought your solar for thousands of dollars less. Call Solar Negotiators.
If you're looking to go solar with confidence and have someone represent you in this transaction, give Solar Negotiators a call at 844-OWN-SOLAR or visit solarnegotiators.com.
Looking for a travel agent? Look no further. Bianca Echeveste can make your travel dream a reality, even on a budget. Visit ilovemytravelbiz.com or call Bianca at 559-284-2217.
CentralValleyTalk.com.
Hey, welcome back to 21st Century Faith. We're here tonight with my special guest, my lovely wife, Melinda, and we're talking about, communicating the Christian message effectively in the 21st century. And one of the ways to do that is through some creative means, like Christian publishing, like writing books that aren't necessarily classified as Christian books, but that have certain core values in them, and that also resonate with people in our times. And I'd be very neglectful if I didn't tell you where you could purchase this book that we've been talking about. The title is Reunion. It's by Melinda Bogart, and you can buy that at the very same place you can buy those other products we were talking about earlier in the show from mindcuisine.com, mindcuisine.com, mindcuisine.com. You just click on the products tab, and tonight we're having a sale on Reunion, and I'm sure you won't want to miss it. Really, it is a page turner. It's a great book, and you'll probably buzz through it in a single session because you can't put it down. So let's get back to Melinda. And Melinda, you were talking about some of the characters in the book, and the main character throughout the whole 2 parts to the book is Melanie Forbes. And you were talking about some of the life lessons she learned over the period of the 3 reunions, the 10, the 20, and the 30-year reunions, that kind of delineate the plot of this book. So what exactly has Melanie learned by the 30-year reunion?
I can't tell you that. Then you wouldn't read the book. So I can't divulge that information.
Well, what would you be willing to tell us about Melanie's journey?
She learned.
Okay.
You want me to, I do want to give you, I'll give you a little overview on various characters in the book. We have, first of all, this is a volume 1 and volume 2 in this one book. The first volume is pretty much from Melanie's point of view. And then the second volume is from another person's point of view. Same situations that they go through, but from another person's point of view. So you get an additional outlook on that thing that happened.
That kind of reminds me of that movie Vantage Point. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
something like that, yeah.
So we have other characters. We have Melanie's lifelong friend, man named, what is his name?
Ken?
Yes, Ken. And he's actually the one kind of who we see it through his eyes in the second volume. So he gets one of the people dissed by her in her process of climbing a social ladder. And he's a real guy. He's just a normal guy and no
pretensions.
No, right. So
Yeah.
he's kind of an enjoyable character. He marries a gal also from their high school and her name is Tara, and she has many, many emotional scars. So I try to deal with some of those things. As I said, the book takes a person from the beginning and goes through a period of 20 years and 10, 20, 30 reunion. And she begins with these scars of her childhood. She brings them into her marriage with Ken. She tries to deal with them, though maybe not in the best way. And then the outcome of her choice of what she decided with that type of, those type of things that happened in her life. And kind of sad to some degree. Another character is Cherry, and she's becomes a friend of Melanie's. And she's a real person too. And I enjoyed writing about her, and I think that's one of the characters where I had someone read it and say, is that about me? But it's not. So anyway, Cherry is, you bring her on a journey. She's battling cancer in this story. This is some things that I drew from personal experience through my own family members battling with this disease. And then I think that's good. I have another a Christian man in here, and enjoyed writing about him because drew many things of my own experiences with that too, he and his wife. So,
well, we look forward to talking with you maybe more about this another time. But that book is called Reunion, once again, and Reunion can be bought at mindcuisine.com, mindcuisine.com. Go to the products tab, and we're having a special sale on Reunion right now. That's right. So I think you'll really enjoy it. Melinda, thank you. It's been a joy to have you on the program again. And so I owe you a big time for this.
At least a dinner out.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. Well, I have another segment that we need to do called the mentoring moment. And so let's go to the mentoring moment now. Remember that one of the things that we believe is so essential in the 21st century is intergenerational mentoring. That the Christian faith was always meant to be passed on by a very personal connection between one generation and another. And I've been mentored all of my life, even into my middle age, by my parents, of course. My dad got excited about this show when I was talking about it, and he's been willing to supply what I call the mentoring moment for this show. So I'm just going to read what he wrote for this particular segment. My father has been a professor at Arizona State University for many years. Of course, he's retired now, but he was in the higher education department at Arizona State University for, 25 years or something like that. I probably am getting the number wrong, but a long time. And so he's had a lot of experience in academia, but also in terms of, I think his gift was really mentoring the students in his doctoral program. So I'm going to read this that he wrote. When I was a member of the Emeritus College Council, I asked to co-chair its program on mentoring. For several reasons, it didn't get very far off the ground, and the program didn't meet with much success. I wondered why. So I started reading some of the articles dealing with mentoring, and I began to discover why the Emeritus College program at my university didn't work. I thought I'd share some of the key suggestions and ideas I ran across in my reading. First, if one is going to mentor millennials, it's essential to connect with them using their levels of interest, which may very well center around the use of technology. After all, that's the age we find ourselves in, whether we wish to or not. Many millennials do not have the social skills that the baby boomers and Generation X did, so we have to discover ways of bringing them into open social discourse. Second, you want to develop their trust. An ongoing open relationship in which you show your appreciation and respect for their interests and ideas will help you gain that trust. Third, we need to let the millennial or millennials you want to mentor understand that your relationship with them is valued and that you can learn much from them in the process. If one acts superior or detached in your interactions with them, then you've lost the right to mentor them. Carl Moore, a professor at McGill University, writes, "We believe that millennials are typically more interested than previous generations in finding a mentor. Millennials tend to have multiple mentors, the traditional older ones, as well as peer mentors or coaches. Secondly, mentorship is a two-way road. Today, mentoring is reversed, where those being mentored mentor their mentors about 20% of the time. Randy Emelo, a CEO of Triple Creek River, a provider of social learning software, writing in Workforce magazine, believes that millennials have grown up in an environment with highly involved baby boomer parents, passionate teachers, and other influential authorities telling them that mentoring is vital to a successful professional career. Well, it seems to me, as your dad, with a lifelong attempt to mentor you and your brothers, that such mentoring is crucial, not only for developing careers, but also developing a life filled with love and understanding for others, a life reflecting moral and ethical values in ongoing dealings with others. Son, I hope this is helpful. Love and God bless, Dad." You know, that's a good example, I believe, of one way of passing on values and especially passing on the Christian faith to the generations that follow. It has to come with real in-depth involvement with one generation to another. So let's spend the remaining couple minutes that we have in this show talking about ways that we can mentor different generations of people. It's true, I come from the baby boomer generation. That's 1946 to 1964. And that generation tends to have some certain core behavior characteristics, certain core values that we hold in common. Those of us from the baby boomer generation that embraced Christianity, in my own case, I embraced Christianity as a 19-year-old in university during the Jesus movement. Some very special demographics went on during that period. And of course, we have our own particular cultural ways of, I guess you'd say, engaging with the Christian faith. How do you pass that on from that generation to the millennial generation, which grew up at a very different time, had some different experiences, and perhaps have some different priorities? Well, that can only happen as interaction takes place. How does interaction take place? How do you share, life experiences and deeply held values from your point of view to somebody else's point of view? Well, you've got to create those situations where those kinds of things happen somewhat naturally. And that means that you look for common interests. You look for ways to spend time together in the kinds of venues in which authentic personhood emerges. Now, it works differently for different people. If you're a talker, you need to develop situations where you get together with younger people and you talk about things that you share a mutual interest in. Maybe you're more of an action-oriented person. So let's say that you're an avid fisherman. Find some millennials that would like to learn fly fishing or would like to just go fishing with you. And then in the context of fishing, you talk about life issues and your own faith and how that's worked out in your life and how God's answered prayers and how you've seen, the truth of Jesus infiltrate your life. If you're a quilter, do that. If you like cooking, do that. Well, we'll talk more about this in other shows, but for now we've just about run out of time. But let's remember that we've got to mentor people, and that's how we pass on Christian faith. We'll see you next week, same time, Central Valley Talk.com, 6 to 7 on Wednesday nights. Glad you joined us. See you next time.
Thanks so much for joining us on today's 21st Century Faith. Mike Bogart would love to hear from you. So if you have any questions or you'd like to dialogue with Mike, please feel free to use the contact information you see on the screen. And we hope you'll come back and bring a friend to the next program of 21st Century Faith.